Hi, and welcome to Community Storytelling. I'm Lissa Kreisler. Season 3, Linda Leicester is responsible for this show. So we love you, Linda. Thank you so much. And Jaco Art House for these gorgeous canvases behind me. I am almost too excited to talk right now, but we're going to get through this. So community storytelling, now we're really hitting close to home. Before Paramount's Great America, there was Frontier Village. And Frontier Village was in San Jose, Edenvale Park, Monterey Highway, Branham Lane. If you're a newcomer, you say, Frontier Village, never heard of it. Well, wait till you find out what you missed. It was my life growing up. And I have two gentlemen here, and I think it was your life forever. It still is, right?
Yeah.
We have Alan Weitzel and Bart Biaggi, and where do we begin? Well, why don't we start at the beginning? October 21st, 1961. I know my Frontier Village facts.
Very good.
It opened, and we had a Los Gatos connection, which I did not know until just recently.
Yeah, Joe Zukin started the park. They went down to Disneyland. Actually, Joe and his partners went to Southern California. They were going to buy a car wash, and they went to Disneyland for a day, and then came back with the idea, started thinking about, what about a Western amusement park? Because in that time period from 56 to 62, it was all Westerns on TV.
Yeah, Gunsmoke. Bonanza was later, I think.
Yeah. And then Maverick and Cheyenne, all of that.
Yes.
So they started talking about that, then they decided they'd get some shareholders and put that together. It took a while to get the shareholders going, but they did that. They opened October in 61, and they opened with 6 rides, and it was really slow for the first few years. And then...
and why was that? Because now everybody loves it.
Well, they tried to be more of a sedate type Frontier park. And then Joe realized in 66, we need some activity rides. Actually, 65, he put in the Ferris wheel.
Which I threw up on, by the way.
That's more information than what we wanted.
Well, I just thought I would share that. I'll never forget that. I was on the very top, and I don't know. I went up right after lunch at the saloon, and
there you go.
Yeah, you don't want to be the ride operator on that.
Yes, they did stop it to let me off.
What year was that? Huh? And then they put in the Sidewinder, the Stampede.
Yeah.
And then from there, we also started picnics. And when we started group picnics for companies, that's when it took off.
Oh. KLOK, I worked at KLOK, and we'll let you talk soon, Bart. I worked at KLOK 1170, and I think we had an event there almost every weekend. We gave away cars,
right.
and there was the big stage,
yeah.
and I still have some pictures from those days.
KTBU invites you to a 2-cent sale at Frontier Village on the President's Birthday weekends, February 9th through 12th and the 16th through 18th. Buy 2 unlimited ride tickets at the regular price and get 2 more for 2 cents each. Enjoy the rides and games, the fishing pond, the canoe and barrel rides, gunfights in the streets, and special appearances by Yogi Bear, Scooby-Doo, and Fred Flintstone. Join us for our 2-cent sale for 2 exciting weekends at Frontier Village, Monterey Road in South San Jose.
It was just wonderful. It was, even though it was about gun battles, and they were loud gun battles, and it was just fun, and it was nice, clean fun. You know, you just had a great time there.
Well, it was when life was simple.
Yeah.
And life was easy, you know. You were able to come into the park, the parents could be somewhere, and the kids could roam free in the park.
It was about 10 acres or so?
It was 39 acres.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, when we closed, we had 101, and we were only using 39.
Well, and the grounds were beautiful because it was a park. The trees were unbelievable.
Part of the old Hayes Mansion.
Because I remember when you would take the stagecoach ride,
yeah.
you would go through the trees,
yeah,
and they
yeah.
would talk about the Hayes Mansion. And
yeah.
So you both worked there?
Yes.
What year did you start?
I worked there the last 5 years at the park. So it was an incredible experience because when you came through the front gates, it was just like, you know, you had this excitement and you were just like ready to go. And, you know, we had awesome management staff. It's not like, you know, working at a company now where you might have a little bit of training. I mean, you had hands-on training, you were trained, you were tested, and once you passed all that, then you were able to go.
Which is why I did not work there, because I did get hired. And I was all excited, and then they wanted me to work in the trout farm. And Lissa does not work in the trout farm.
You're kidding me.
I was not going to work in the trout farm, so I kindly declined.
Okay.
But almost got me there.
I was going to ask what the story was. I'm glad you volunteered that.
But you know, it was different than the big parks of now, because I remember my parents would drop me off. They would drop me off. You'd go past like the, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know, the forts, you know,
Right.
the high forts.
Stockade, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd walk in and they'd pick you up at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you worked there for...
Yeah, so when I first started working there, got hired, and it was kind of interesting because, you know, they had strict haircut policies and everything.
Oh,
I mean,
really?
yeah, they actually gave you a piece of paper and they said, this is how your hair will be cut for men, and this is how your hair will be for women. And there was no deviation from that. I mean, hair had to be cut above the ears, had to be above the collar of your shirt and everything. And if you wanted to work there, that's the way it was.
Do you remember what you were paid?
I was actually paid $1.85, and I remember when I got my first paycheck, it was $43.70, and that was for a week of working. And I told my mom, I said, "What am I going to do with all this money?" You know.
Yes.
But I first started working the canoe ride,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden they gave me this binder, and they're like, "Okay, you need to have this memorized." I was just like,
So was it because you had to have personality on the canoe ride? You had to talk to
well, you had to
us?
do that also, but they had a spiel that you had to give the whole entire time, and you didn't know if somebody from the park was going to be in your canoe listening to your spiel, making sure you had it correct. So, I mean, your spiel started from the time you were loading all of your guests, you know, welcome to Indian Jim's canoe ride, you know, my name is Bart, and, you know, the funny looking guy in the back, his name is Jim, and we're going to take you on a journey. And, you know, it went all the way around Indian Island, and, you know, the spiel was going on. There was times when we're going past Indian Island and we're getting over by Sagebrush Theater where the Fall Guys were there doing their skit, so then we would have to be quiet as we're paddling by there.
So politically not correct these days. Maybe that was one of the
Probably not.
problems. Probably not. And what did you do there, Alan?
I started in '66. I'd gone to art college and I was home for the summer. And my brother was already working there starting in '62, and he had just left for Nam. And so I called up and I asked the marketing director if he had any jobs. He says, "What are you doing tomorrow?" And so I started in '66 in the picnic area. Then I was a ride operator. Then I did gunfight relief. And then by the end of '66, I was doing ride supervision. And then '67 was the same ride supervision and gunfights. And then Warren came home and took over ops again. And then I was picnic manager, then food director, then marketing, merchandise director. And
So you were there for how many years?
I was there for 15 years.
Till they closed?
Till they closed.
Closed 1980?
80, yeah.
So they didn't even make it 20 years.
No.
What was that about?
It was. It could take forever to explain it. It was a combination of things, Lisa. It wasn't one thing. Primarily, we wanted to expand. The city didn't want us to expand. The local homeowners had moved in. They didn't want us to expand. Rio Grande had we were bought out in '73 by Rio Grande Railroad. And they got a new CEO around 1979, and he just wanted to get rid of the subsidiaries.
Mm-hmm.
He just wanted to have a railroad.
Why did Joe sell?
Joe finally, I think, saw that he had other adventures he wanted to do.
He wanted that car wash.
Well, he already had car washes.
Okay.
He already had many.
Okay.
But I think, you know, we never asked him that question directly, but he saw that the park was run well. We had Ed Hutton as our general manager. And he was, I think, was ready to move on to different adventures. He's an entrepreneur. He had radio stations, car washes. He did a lot of things. So I think he was just...
It was time.
Yeah, it was time.
He had his fun.
That's exactly the
He had
phrase.
his
It was
fun.
time. And so when Rio Grande decided that they want to get rid of the subsidiaries, then they announced to us 18 months in advance that we were going to close in 1980. They tried to sell the park, but with the city not wanting to let us expand, no park owner wanted to buy it.
Sure, why not?
Yeah.
It makes sense. Well, and now we've got the Hayes Mansion there.
Yeah.
We've got a development of townhomes or
Yeah.
condominiums.
Yeah.
Not much, a little bit of a parkland still
Yeah,
left.
yeah.
But it's so funny, when I mentioned on Facebook that I was going to be interviewing, I said I'm going to be interviewing two people from Frontier Village. Comments after comments.
Yeah.
Everybody loved Frontier Village. So I think, and it didn't even last 20
I
years.
actually got 98 private messages because
Yes.
people know, you know, I'm always posting, I'm approving whatever goes on the page. And people are just like, who's being interviewed? I'm just like, I have no idea. I'm trying to find out.
Yeah, and there's a part two, I guess, to Frontier Village, and we'll get to that. But Fondest memory, favorite memory. You know, when you want to tell somebody about your time at Frontier Village, what's the story you tell?
I think one time it was actually Santa Teresa Hospital was out there, and the nurses were having their big picnic out there. And it was their time to let loose and everything. So we had the whole canoe full of nurses. Well, they just started laughing, and then they started rocking the canoe, and I'm just like, no, don't do this.
Indian Jim is going to get mad.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're backing out the canoe, and we're out in the water. And the water, you know, it's probably 3.5 feet, you know, where we are getting ready to turn. And they kept on rocking, and they sunk us. And I just turned around and looked, and who's standing out on the docks? Alan and Warren. Hands like this, just shaking their head. I'm just like...
It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault. And were the trout in that same lake?
No, there was a direct trout pond. There was a feeder river from the trout pond to the lake, but the trout pond was by itself.
And so, I mean, you wouldn't carry the trout around with you all day if you caught them. So what, did you have a little locker? I don't remember.
And what happens, people would pay for their trout, and then we would cut them and clean them, and then we'd put them in a refrigerator, give them a tag, and they could pick it up at the end of the day.
Whoa.
And the fish that people forgot, maybe mom didn't want to take the fish home.
Yeah.
They conveniently forgot. We would keep for 30 days, freeze them, and then we'd sell the bags of fish to the employees for $1 a bag.
Really? What a great story. Okay, your fondest memory, something you want to share.
Well, I've got a lot of them, but I think I'm going to let Bart tell this story.
Oh, so you must know this story.
He does know this story.
Okay, I knew this would come. So when he got all the way up into his management and he was the ride director and everything, one thing that the employees were always listening for is the jingling of keys, because all of the management had this big, huge key fob that had keys to everything in the park. So we could hear from a long distance that they were coming. So all of a sudden, I'm working the canoe ride. The Lost Dutchman mine ride is packed. They need more help
that
there.
ride.
So at the time, I was working ride relief. So they're like, we need you to go. I said, well, can I go like this? And they're just like, no, of course you can't go like this. You need to go change, because it was a different costume. And I'm thinking, oh, my hair is not cut the way it's supposed to be. Because with the skull caps that we were wearing, I was able to tuck my hair up.
Oh,
you know, I needed a haircut, but I just didn't have time. And I'm thinking, oh, I'm going to get busted. So I put on my cowboy hat, I have on my cowboy shirt, I have the handkerchief on, and I'm walking over there. Everything's going fine, and I hear the jingling of keys. And I look down, and I see Alan at a distance. And then all of a sudden he disappeared, and I'm just like, oh, all of a sudden he's right behind me. Oh. And he just walked up to me, and he goes like this. He goes,
Yeah.
Your hair won't be like that tomorrow. And I'm like, no, sir. And then all of a sudden he disappeared, and he was gone.
You still let him yell at you like that?
Yep.
Okay, there's a second part to this, because Frontier Village lives on. And we're going to take a stop over at Leicester Square, and then we're going to come back with Bart and Alan and tell you what's still cooking on Frontier Village. It's community storytelling. I'm telling you, I'm also excited about all of these stories. I'm Lissa Kreisler. Come on back. Hi, it's Lissa Kreisler. I'm at Leicester Square right here at the corner of Blossom Hill Road and Los Gatos Boulevard. A lot of fun things to do. Ken!
Lisa,
I didn't
so
even
nice to see you.
finish my sentence. I'm so surprised to see you. What are you doing here?
Well, we live close by, and we're taking Rocky to the vet today.
So do you have time for a cup of coffee at Phil's with me afterwards?
Sure. Is it your treat or mine?
It's definitely your treat.
And Rocky's coming too.
Good with me. I am so glad to run into you at Leicester Square. It's one of my favorite places.
It's one of my favorite places too, and we've been to Varenza and Super Duper and Phil's, and we love going here.
And so, you know, where I live, I have no flowers, so I come here to Leicester Square to enjoy all the flowers. They're gorgeous. So the motto here that Linda Lester coined is meet me at the square, or meet us at the square, or meet your besties at the square. I meet everybody at the square. It's Leicester Square in Los Gatos.
Come on by, and cheers.
Yes. Well, welcome back to Community Storytelling. I'm Lissa Kreisler, and just humor me for a minute. You know, we're talking about Frontier Village, and I'm just getting all weepy because it was my life as a kid here in San Jose. I lived in San Jose all my life. And if you're new to the area, you're going to say Frontier Village. So it was this Wild West amusement park. 1961 to 1980. And if you tuned in late and you say, well, where was this place? Monterey Highway and Branham Lane, Edenvale Park, and now it's home to Hayes Mansion and townhouses and things like that. And it was just a place where you could go as a kid. It wasn't expensive. Well, maybe it was back then, but it didn't seem expensive. And your parents could drop you off, and it was big enough but small enough that you were safe. And you never got lost, and you found your way, and it was just good fun.
Won't you come and play with us at Frontier Village? At Frontier Village. Won't you spend the day with us at Frontier Village?
Hey, come on! Here's a special place for kids.
The rides are special, too.
It's a whole world of adventure where the Wild West is true. Look at all the fun we'll have at Frontier Village Town.
And I have Alan Weitzel here, and I have Yogi Bear. So Bart Biaggi, he's under here someplace, and we said, we've heard enough from you now. We got to hear from Alan. But I just love this. And so there was Yogi Bear and Fred Flintstone, Scooby-Doo.
Right. Quick Draw McGraw.
Quick Draw McGraw to stay with the theme.
Yeah, and then Jabberjaws.
Jabberjaws, and so much fun. And then they all went to Great America, so they took your leftovers.
Yeah, we bought we had a contract with Hanna-Barbera through 1980.
I feel like I should hold hands.
Yeah, you can hold hands all you want. But they jumped the contract. Great America did, and got that before we were closed. Before Frontier Village, the 1980 contract was up.
So what is it about this place that has made you and Bart continue the legend, continue the nostalgia?
Well, it had a charm, but Joe had a model in his head, and it was a little different than what Walt had. But his model was exactly what you saw when you came in the gate, and he was able to take it from his head down to ground level when a customer came in, when a guest came in. And for example, if someone lost a balloon, let's say a little kid lost a balloon, the balloon we get motion here.
The balloon would magically reappear?
No, but the girls at the balloon stand, the staff at the balloon stand could give a replacement balloon without any questions. No charge to the customer, no questions, no arguments. It was a simpler time.
It was a simpler time.
And the whole goal was customer service. So we spent a lot of time taking care of the customer. Whatever it took to make sure the customer was happy was the way it worked.
Even if they had to throw up on the Ferris wheel,
yeah,
that
well,
was
those
okay.
people we kicked out once we found them.
That was okay. Did Walt Disney ever come up and visit, do you think?
Walt, I think, came early, but I don't think he visited the park. I think Joe met Walt, but I'm not so sure he saw the facility or saw the layout.
Any famous guests that you know of?
Oh, lots of famous. Bing
Yeah?
Crosby.
Yeah?
Yeah, and local people. Remember Al Collins with his show?
Sure.
So, I mean, the list is real long, and but they wanted to come in incognito. They didn't want to come in. I mean, when Al came, he wanted to be.
He wanted to be seen and heard.
But when we had promotions like Marshall J, and all of those, but basically most of them wanted to come in quietly and enjoy their family and whatever.
So it's
Is
not
Yogi
like
distracting
Disneyland.
you?
When Kim Kardashian's at Disneyland, she wants everybody to see her.
Yeah.
So you didn't have the tour guides and stopping everybody.
Yeah. No, if they wanted to be left alone, we made sure they left alone. So.
Is there anything there now that tells you Frontier Village was once there?
Just not a lot. There's as far as the physical structure, the pole to the east gate is probably the only thing that's standing that was original to the park, and the rocks from the trout pond waterfalls. But the rest of it's pretty much flat. The picnic area, I think they've done a good job. Maybe Yogi will agree with me on this. On Edenvale Park, I think it looks very cute. Where they have playland for kids.
Yes.
They have tennis courts. They have not whack-a-mole, tennis courts. Yeah. And so it's a nice little park.
And is it you and Bart who started this picnic 20 years ago?
No, in 2000, two fellows, but one by the name of Kim Peterson and one by the name of Elliot Fong, decided they were fans of Frontier Village, but they had never worked there, and they were ACE members, which is American Coaster Enthusiasts. And they decided to go to Frontier Village, to the property, on the 20th anniversary of it closing, and decided that they would take pictures then and now. And then Kim built a website and designed it like Frontier Village, fonts and all of that, and had the sections, the Main Street gunfights, all of that. And he put it up online, and he said to himself, well, it's probably going to be up 2 weeks, then I'll take it down. And he started getting 100,000 hits a month.
No.
Yeah.
And so then became a picnic every year.
He just left it, and then the picnic started. Matt Lindstedt started the picnics, and just grew from there. And
you meet every summer.
Yeah, every summer. Last Saturday in June, every year. And
does anybody have any of the old relics? Does anybody have anything from Frontier Village?
You've got two of the old relics right here. What else do you want?
He can't talk right
now. Yeah, I'd be in trouble otherwise. Yeah, there's two fellas, and I want to mention their names because I don't want to.
Sure, I understand.
But two fellas who really are aggressively building their own Frontier Village collections of stuff. And they'll buy souvenirs and whatever. And I'll get a lot of phone calls from them or emails asking me, oh, when did you sell this? Like teacups and shot glasses. One guy's buying holsters. And so, yeah, they do buy the stuff. I think both of them are trying to figure out when they pass where, if they're going to have the stuff go to a museum or not. I don't know what their plans are, but they are collecting and keeping and displaying. And actually, one of them actually puts a display out when we have the picnic of some of his wares, and every year he changes it, different things. Am I doing this right? Have I got everything? Don't mess me up here.
I feel like he's probably so hot with the camera lights. Yeah. Bart, are you alive in there? Are you okay?
Yeah. So there is displays when we have the picnic of things, and then Secret Ingredient has all kinds of good things. There'll be a candy store this year and all kinds of great things.
That's Bart's Catering Company,
yeah,
Secret
yeah.
Ingredient.
So it's but there are people who collect the stuff, and we also get questions online or Facebook will ask us, what was this worth? What should I pay for it if I'm buying a Frontier Village matchbook cover or whatever?
Well, maybe they need to open up another amusement park.
It would be
Not
tough
gonna
to do.
happen.
Well, you know what was the success of Frontier Village? The employees. The employees were the success program of it. And we hand-picked the employees, we hand-trained the employees.
Well, heck, you picked me.
Yeah.
I just didn't want the trout, that's all.
The trout didn't pick you, right?
Yeah.
So it was the employees. We had a great group of employees. And people ask, well, does everybody love Frontier Village? Since I've been involved with Frontier Village after it closed in 1980, I've had 6 complaints about Frontier Village.
And what were they? You remember any of them?
Yeah, they thought the employees worked too hard, or the customers didn't get what they wanted.
There was that woman who threw up on the Ferris wheel, that little girl. Yeah.
But by and large, I mean, we get. I spend about 20 to 40 hours a month answering questions on Frontier Village.
So how do people get in touch with you? Because this is going to open up a can of Frontier Village worms.
Remembering Frontier Village Facebook page.
Remembering Frontier Village Facebook page.
Yes.
So that way they can correspond with you and find out about the picnic next
Right.
June, which
Yep.
will be a big one.
Yeah.
20th anniversary.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, you guys, this has just been the best. You have just put so many smiles in me.
We should have brought a trout. We forgot.
That would have been the end of that one. Oh, Frontier Village. It was the best. It truly was the best. One of the best things we had here in San Jose. Who knows what will come after that? You never know,
Yeah.
right? You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah.
Alan and Yogi and Bart, thank you so much for being with you.
Happy to do it.
You made my season.
Happy to do it. Yeah, happy to do it.
Who else has a story? Something like Frontier Village, there is a story in your life that I know you want to share. All you got to do is nominate yourself or someone you know at kcat.org. It is so very easy. It will take you a minute or two. And I thank you so much for humoring me today and letting me get away with a lot of nostalgia and fun memories about Frontier Village. It's community storytelling at its finest. I'm Lissa Kreisler. Thanks for being with us at KCAT TV 15. Okay, group hug.